Welcome to Private Stories, where people discover who they really are.
Hi, if you're listening to this, I'll tell you the exact moment I realized my marriage was already dead. Not because of a fight, not because of some dramatic confession, because of a jar of peanut butter. Yeah, ridiculous, right? But that morning in our apartment in Austin, Texas, everything shifted. It was early, quiet. The kind of quiet that feels too clean, like something's been erased overnight. I walked into the kitchen, still half asleep, wearing yesterday's t-shirt and reached for coffee. That's when I saw it. A brand new jar, peanut butter, sealed, just sitting there on the top shelf, slightly pushed back, like it didn't belong but also like it had been placed carefully. And that's the thing, it didn't belong. Because Lena hated peanut butter. Not I'm not a fan kind of hate. I mean full-on disgust. She used to joke it made her feel sick just smelling it. I stood there holding that jar longer than I should have. It wasn't about what it was about what it meant. Someone had been in my kitchen. Someone she bought groceries for, someone who wasn't me. I slowly put it back exactly where I found it. Same angle, same spot, top shelf, left side, behind the honey jar. Then I sat down at the table and just stared. Not angry, not yet. Just trying to understand how something so small could feel so loud. About 10 minutes later, she walked in, barefoot, hair tied up, oversized gray hoodie, mine actually. She still wore it like nothing had changed between us. Her eyes were glued to her phone, thumbs moving fast, small smile, not for me. She didn't say good morning, didn't look at me, didn't notice the untouched coffee sitting in front of me. She just walked past, opened the fridge, grabbed her oat milk and started making a smoothie, still scrolling, still smiling like I wasn't even there. And in that moment I realized something that hit harder than any argument ever could. She had no idea I was watching her, no idea I had started noticing. The little things. The second toothbrush hidden in the bathroom drawer, receipts from gas stations 2 towns away. A new playlist on her phone filled with songs she never used to listen to. All those things, I ignored them, told myself I was overthinking. But that jar, that was different because it didn't belong to our life. And when something doesn't belong, it usually belongs to someone else. I kept my voice calm when I finally spoke. Hey, when did you start liking peanut butter? She paused, looked up slowly, confused, almost annoyed. What? I nodded toward the cabinet. Just saw a jar in there, thought you hated it. She stared at me for a second too long, then shrugged. Must have grabbed it by accident. And just like that, it was over, not the conversation, the marriage, because I knew her. Lena didn't do accidents. This was the same woman who once drove back across the city because a label on a hot sauce bottle was scratched. She double-checked everything. She didn't make mistakes like that. She made choices. And that jar was one of them. I didn't argue, didn't raise my voice. I just nodded and watched her walk away, smoothie in hand, completely unbothered. That hurt more than anything. Not the lie, but how easy it was for her, like I didn't even matter enough to lie properly. And as she disappeared down the hallway, I sat there in silence and realized something else. She hadn't told me she loved me in weeks. She hadn't touched me in even longer. And somehow, I had convinced myself that was normal. That night I didn't sleep. Not really. I lay in the spare bedroom, the one I'd quietly moved into a few weeks earlier, staring at the ceiling fan as it spun in slow, lazy circles. I told her it was because I snored too loud. She didn't question it. Didn't ask if something was wrong. Just said, okay, like I told her I was switching toothpaste brands. That should have been the moment I understood. But I didn't. Not yet. The truth was simpler. I couldn't stand lying next to her anymore. Not when she turned her back to me every night. Not when her body felt like a wall instead of something warm. Not when reaching for her hand felt like reaching into empty space. And still, some part of me hoped that maybe one night she'd knock on the door, ask what was going on, say something, anything to prove I still existed in her world. But she never did, not once. And that silence, it started getting louder than anything she could have said. I began noticing more after that. Things I wish I hadn't. Her phone, for example. It used to live on the kitchen counter or face up on the nightstand while she showered. Now, it never left her hand. bathroom, laundry room, even outside just to grab the mail, always with her, always glowing. At first I told myself it didn't mean anything. People use their phones all the time, but then I started seeing patterns. She'd be folding laundry, stop mid-motion, glance at the screen and smile. Not a casual smile, a private one, quick, soft, intentional. Then she'd type something fast and go back to what she was doing like nothing happened. One time she dropped a plate in the sink just to check a notification. It cracked. She didn't even react. That's when it hit me. It felt like there was someone else in the room with us, someone invisible, someone she was more present with than me. Dinner changed too. We used to sit together, talk about stupid things, work drama, random stories. Now she ate in front of the TV, AirPods in, watching shows I didn't recognize. I tried once. "What are you watching?" She didn't even pause it. "I don't know, something random." That was it, conversation over, like I was interrupting. One night I finally said it. "Hey, is something going on with us?" She didn't look up from her laptop, just kept typing. "I'm just tired, Daniel." That was my name, Daniel, but the way she said it felt like she was talking to a coworker, not her husband. Then she got up and left the room, no follow-up. No, "we'll talk later." Nothing, just tired. I started walking our dog more after that. His name was Max, golden retriever, loyal, too smart for his own good. And here's the thing about dogs. They notice everything. Max used to sleep at the foot of our bed every single night. Didn't matter what, but recently, he stopped. Instead, he followed me to the spare room, scratched at the door until I let him in, jumped on the bed, curled up next to me with a quiet sigh, like he had already made his choice, like he knew where he belonged, and somehow. That hurt too, because even the dog could feel it, the distance, the shift, the quiet breakdown happening right in front of us. That same week she went out twice. Girls' nights. Which, sure, that's normal, I didn't question it, but something felt off. She didn't change after work, didn't fix her hair, didn't put on makeup, just came home, said, "I'll be out for a bit," and left again within 20 minutes. Both times, no effort, no explanation. I waited, both nights, till almost midnight. She didn't text once. By Friday, something in me snapped, not loud, not explosive, just quiet clarity. I opened my laptop, logged into our shared phone account, scrolled through the call logs, and there it was, one number. I didn't recognize it. Out-of-state area code, called almost every day, sometimes for a few minutes, sometimes for nearly an hour. I stared at it for a long time, long enough for it to stop being suspicious and start being obvious. I copied the number into my phone, saved it, didn't call, not yet. I wanted to be sure. The next day she said she had a hair appointment. I watched her leave, no purse, no usual salon bag, just her phone, always the phone. I waited a few minutes, then stepped outside, dialed the number. It rang once, twice. Then voicemail. A guy's voice picked up, relaxed, easy. "Hey, you've reached Ryan, leave a message." What? Ryan, the name hit something in my chest, because I'd heard it before, months ago. Some IT guy from her office. Helped her fix a laptop. Yeah, right, I didn't leave a message, just stood there in the driveway, wind brushing past me, feeling like something inside me had finally dropped. Like a weight I didn't know I was carrying had just sunk. That wasn't coincidence, that was confirmation. I ended the call, looked back at the house. Faded welcome mat, cracked paint near the door, an empty flower pot she hadn't touched in months. And I thought, something here is already broken, and I'm the only one pretending it is. That night, I didn't try to talk to her, didn't ask questions, didn't confront anything. I just sat there and started planning. Because if I was right, then the truth wasn't coming. It was already here, sitting at my table, using my space, living inside my life. Like I had already been replaced. I wish I could say I was the kind of man who just walks away, packs a bag, leaves, starts over without looking back, but I'm not. I needed certainty, not guesses, not assumptions. I needed proof, something real enough that it wouldn't haunt me later. So I started simple. I went to her company's website, scrolled through the staff directory, and there he was, Ryan Cole, IT department, mid-20s, clean-cut, athletic. The kind of guy who looks like life has never really hit him yet. Big smile, confident posture, the kind of face that doesn't expect consequences. I leaned back in my chair, staring at his photo longer than I should have. It felt strange, studying some guy I'd never met. Knowing he was slowly stepping into my life, I read his little bio. Problem solver. Always ready for a challenge. Yeah, I bet he was. For a moment I thought about calling him directly, just asking it straight. But what was I supposed to say? Hey, are you sleeping with my wife? No, that wouldn't give me truth. That would just give me denial. So I did something smarter. I called her company. Front desk picked up. Bright voice. Polite. Good afternoon, Horizon Systems. This is Melissa. I cleared my throat, lowered my voice slightly. Hey, this is Michael from HR. Quick question about one of your IT guys, Ryan Cole. No hesitation. One moment. A few clicks, soft hold music, then. Hey, this is Ryan. His voice was lighter than I expected. Friendly, easy, almost harmless. I kept my tone casual. Hey, Ryan, quick check. Did you clock in today? Got a weird system glitch on my end. He chuckled. Yeah, I've been here since 9. Actually just saw Lena in the kitchen a few minutes ago. She was stealing the last protein bar. My body went cold. Lena, my wife. She told me she was off that day, said she was going shopping with her mom. I gripped the phone tighter, forced my voice to stay steady. Got it. Thanks, man. No problem. Click. The silence after that call felt different, heavier, final. I wasn't guessing anymore. She didn't just lie. She lied without effort. I grabbed my phone and called her mom. Hey, Carol, quick question. Did Lena stop by today? A pause, confusion. No, I haven't seen her in weeks. Why? I forced a light tone. Just checking, no big deal. We hung up. That's when something inside me shifted. Not anger, not yet, something quieter, like watching a ship slowly sink. You know it's happening, you just can't stop it, but I still needed more. I needed to see it, not just hear it. Then I remembered something, an old iPad, one of those early models we never threw away. Years ago, I had synced it to her account when she got a new phone. She never bothered to disconnect it. I found it in a drawer, dead, dusty, forgot. Kind of like everything else in our house. I plugged it in, waited. Watched the screen slowly come back to life. When it finally turned on, I opened the location history. She had turned it off on her current phone. Of course she had. But the iPad, still connected, still tracking. It took a minute to load. Then 2 pins, one her office. The other, an apartment complex on the east side of the city. I zoomed in, checked the address, looked it up, registered to Ryan Cole. I stared at the screen for a long time, long enough for the shock to fade, long enough for it to become simple, clear, undeniable. She had been there twice in the last 10 days. One of those nights, her girls' night. The other, the day she was with her mom. I didn't throw anything, didn't yell, didn't even move. I just sat there on the couch with the iPad in my hands. And let the truth settle. It wasn't suspicion anymore. It wasn't a feeling, it was fact. She was cheating, and worse. She didn't even care enough to hide it well. I don't know how long I sat there, an hour, maybe more. At some point, Max came over, rested his head on my knee. Quiet still, like he understood. That night she came home around 9, keys dropped into the bowl, same routine, same energy. Hey. I nodded, hey. She didn't ask what I was doing, didn't ask why the house was dark, didn't ask about the iPad sitting right there on the table. She just grabbed a drink and went upstairs. The next morning, something felt different. The house was quiet, but not the usual kind. Her phone was on the nightstand, unlocked, just sitting there like a gift. I stood there staring at it, then at her, still asleep, back turned to me, and I don't know how I knew. But I knew she wanted me to see. She was done hiding, done pretending, maybe. She wanted me to end it. When she came downstairs later, nothing had changed. Same hoodie, hair tied back, calm. Too calm, she poured her coffee, added her oat milk, leaned against the counter like it was just another morning. I was already sitting at the table, the iPad in front of me, screen on. Map open, she saw it. Of course she did, but she didn't flinch, didn't panic, didn't even hesitate. She took a slow sip of her coffee, looked me straight in the eyes, and said, "So, you're checking my location now?" No denial, no excuse, just that. I watched her, waited, hoping for something human, anything, guilt, fear, regret. Nothing came. "2 nights ago," I said quietly, tapping the screen, "you told me you were at your friend's place." She nodded. "I did." "But you were." "Nope." "And last week, you said you were with your mom." A slight tilt of her head. "Oh yeah." "You were at his place both times." She set her mug down, soft, calm. "Guess I was." That answer hit harder than anything else. Not the words, the way she said them, like it didn't matter, like I didn't matter. I swallowed, forced the question out. "How long?" She shrugged. "Long enough." I felt it then, that tightness in my chest, but my hands still steady. "Do you love him?" She looked at me for the first time. There was something there, but it wasn't love, it wasn't regret, it was distance. "It's not about that." That made my skin crawl. "What is it about then?" She didn't answer, just picked up her coffee again, turned away, like we were discussing groceries. I stared at her back, that hoodie. Mine. She stole it years ago. Used to wear it because it made her feel close to me. Now it meant nothing. "Do you want a divorce?" I asked. She turned, crossed her arms. "If that's what you want." I blinked. "I didn't ask what I want." She exhaled. "It's not working, we both know that." Silence, heavy, final. "So you were just waiting for me to figure it out?" She didn't respond. That was my answer. I nodded slowly. "Okay." And just like that, I stood up, walked past her, and went upstairs to pack. It took me less than 10 minutes to pack, not because I didn't have things, but because I didn't care about most of them anymore. I grabbed a duffel bag, threw in a few shirts, jeans, whatever was closest. No folding, no thinking, just movement. That's all I needed. To move. To get out before I started feeling something I couldn't control. Halfway through zipping the bag, I heard it, laughter from downstairs, not background noise, not TV, real laughter, light, easy, warm, the kind I hadn't heard from her in months. I froze, then slowly walked down the stairs, barefoot, quiet. She was in the kitchen, back turned to me, phone in her hand, smiling, radiant, alive in a way she hadn't been with me in a long time. "Yeah," she said softly into the phone, her tone almost playful. "He figured it out this morning." A pause, then she laughed again, deeper this time. My grip tightened on the railing. I didn't interrupt, didn't move, just stood there. Listening. "It's fine," she continued, her voice lowering just a little. "I'll call you later." A beat, then. "Ryan." She said his name like it meant something. That was it. That was everything. When she finally turned around and saw me standing there, she didn't flinch, didn't apologize, didn't even look uncomfortable. She just looked mildly annoyed, like I walked into a room I wasn't supposed to be in. "Do you need something?" she asked, flat, cold. I shook my head. "No, I'm good." She nodded once. That was it. No tears, no explanation, no attempt to fix anything, just nothing. I grabbed my bag, walked past her, and headed for the door. Right before stepping outside, I paused, looked back one last time. She was already scrolling again, already gone, mentally, emotionally, completely. I didn't slam the door, didn't say goodbye, I just closed it. Quiet. That first night I stayed at my brother's place in Denver. I called him from the driveway. He didn't ask questions, just said, "Doors open." His house smelled like takeout and laundry detergent, messy. Lived in, real. He gave me a blanket, a spot on the couch, and a look that said everything without words. "You don't have to explain," and I didn't, not that night. The next week was a blur. I kept to myself, barely talked, answered only what I had to. She texted once, just once, not to apologize, not to check on me, just, "Hey, electric bill came in. It's under your name." That was it. I didn't reply. A few days later I filed for divorce. No drama, no fight. No argument, no kids, no house. No reason to stay tied to something that was already gone. I canceled everything. Shared accounts, subscriptions, even Netflix, petty, maybe, but it felt right, like erasing a version of my life that no longer existed. And here's the strange part. I didn't break down, no big emotional crash, no dramatic moment, I just felt lighter, like I had been holding my breath for months. And finally exhaled. A few weeks later, I drove past our old apartment. Didn't plan to, just happened. Lights off, her car gone. That same empty flower pot still sitting by the door. I expected something. Anger, regret, pain, nothing came, just silence. I stopped at a gas station, bought a pen, found an old receipt, wrote one sentence. Thanks for making it easy. Folded it, slipped it into her car's glove box later that night. Never signed it. Didn't need to. She never responded. A month passed, then something strange happened. My brother showed me his phone one night. Social media. There he was, Ryan, standing next to a woman in a white dress, smiling, happy, not Lena. Apparently he reconnected with someone from his past, moved fast, got married, 8 weeks. I stared at the screen for a while, not angry, not jealous, just surprised. All that secrecy, all that distance, all that damage. For something that didn't even last. I almost felt sorry for her, almost, but not enough to care. Months passed. I got back into routine, started working out again, eating better, sleeping better, not for revenge, for myself. People noticed, said I looked different. They were right. I was, eventually. I met someone, her name was Claire. We met at a gym. She laughed at my old t-shirt the first time we talked, said it looked like it survived a decade it shouldn't have. She was honest, warm, present, and when I told her everything, not the clean version, the real one, she didn't flinch. She just smiled and said, "Her loss." And that's when I knew I was done carrying it, all of it. Now sometimes I still think about that morning, that jar of peanut butter, back then. It felt like the moment everything broke. Now I see it differently. That was the moment I woke up. She gave me silence. Cold, intentional, empty. So I gave it back, not as revenge, not as punishment, but as a boundary. And sometimes the loudest thing you can say to someone is nothing at all.
Thank you for watching this video to the end. Visit our channel for interesting and intriguing stories.